There was a vibrant and excellent professional basketball industry prior to the formation of the NBA in 1946. And before the NBA crowned a world champion, the basketball world champion was the winner of the World Professional Basketball Tournament. Welcome to the Basketball The Remix podcast. I am Mark Armstrong, aka Coach 1891. The Basketball Remix podcast is all about the innovation of the game of basketball. This idea is caught up in the term remix. We talk about the most important innovations in the history of the game, the impact of modern innovations, and what technologies on the horizon might impact basketball in the future. We guarantee to bring value to your time and innovation to your mind. This is podcast number 10. With the hopes of getting some basketball this summer and the excitement over the basketball tournament and its $2 million pot, in this podcast, I want to start to put this awesome event into a historical context. NBA reporter David Aldridge is quoted saying, "The basketball tournament is a worthy successor to the spirit of the Rucker, the offer of a dream to show what you can do on the blacktop against anyone who challenges you, whether they're NBA bound or going nowhere in particular. The winning team stays on the court, losers go home." Now, I agree with David Aldrige. And prior to the first Rucker Park Pro-Am leagues in the 1950s, this spirit he's talking about was operating through the World Professional Basketball Tournament. Have you ever heard of the Oshkosh All-Stars, Detroit Eagles, Indianapolis Catskies, or Toledo Jeeps? What about the Harlem Globetrotters, Minneapolis Lakers, or New York Renaissance? Well, between 1939 and 1948, they were considered some of the best professional basketball teams in the world, and all participated in the World Professional Basketball Tournament. The winners of this tournament were crowned basketball world champions. And though the NBA came on the scene with its first championship in 1947, the NBA teams of that era were not clearly head and shoulders over non-NBA basketball franchises like they are today. Now, men getting paid to play on a specific basketball team and compete against other professional basketball teams has been around since 1898. It wasn't until two promoters partnered with the Chicago Herald-American in 1939 to promote the World Professional Basketball Tournament that the first world basketball champion was crowned. What made the World Professional Basketball Tournament a true world championship was the tournament was an open tournament. Unlike the NBA or EuroLeague championships that only consist of teams in their closed league, the World Professional Basketball Tournament was an open tournament. Teams from different professional leagues, as well as professional barnstorming teams or independent basketball franchises, all could participate in this tournament. What made the tournament even more spectacular was that there were no race restrictions. So let me translate. They allowed black players and, more significantly, all black teams to participate. This was significant because neither of the two dominating leagues at that time, the National Basketball League nor the Basketball Association of America, allowed black players in their league. This was also significant because the two dominating all-black independent basketball franchises that dominated basketball during the 20s and 30s, they won the first two World Professional Basketball tournaments. So, the first two professional world basketball champions in history were all black teams. Think about that. In 1939, the New York Renaissance beat the Oshkosh All-Stars. The following year, the Harlem Globetrotters beat the Chicago Bruins. The New York Rens and the Harlem Globetrotters are the only independent teams to win the tournament besides the Washington Bears. And the Washington Bears team that won the title in 1943 consisted of mostly former members of the New York Reds. Overall, the National Basketball League went on to dominate the tournament, winning 7 out of 10 tournaments. The last team to win the World Professional Basketball Tournament was the Minneapolis Lakers, led by George Mikan in 1948. Another significant event took place that year. In 1948, the Minneapolis Lakers played a game against the Harlem Globetrotters, a highly touted game between the best all-white team versus the best all-black team. The Globetrotters went on to beat the George Mikan Lakers, and that victory solidified black basketball players' value and ability in professional basketball and started the process of the integration of the NBA. The Professional World Basketball Tournament disbanded in 1949. The merger of the NBL and BAA to form the NBA gave the NBA a monopoly on all the best all-white professional teams. There simply were not enough teams to field a respectable event. Finally, here's a historical note of significance. Though the NBA began to draft black players in 1950, the NBA rejected the black-owned, all-black New York Renaissance's request to join the newly formed league. Think about it. The NBA could have started with a black-owned basketball franchise. Man, how would the league be different today? Well, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining the Basketball the Remix podcast, where we promote the innovation of the game of basketball. I hope I brought some value to your time and innovation for your minds. Please remember to like and share this podcast. Again, this is Mark Armstrong, aka Coach 1891. Be blessed, and I'll see you at the top.